Earlier this week, I got a question from one of you guys asking about a specific play from Super Bowl 59. So we're going to take a look at that now and see if we can decipher what was supposed to happen. Let's film study. All right, here we go. Super Bowl 59. We got Chiefs versus Eagles. Eagles have the ball and are driving. Chiefs are on defense. Now, I will say on this clip, this is all 22 clip from NFL Plus. I am not able to get this angle all the way through. There's a glitch in it, and we'll see that in a second. But I'm going to try to figure out what exactly is going on. So the Eagles look to be in 12 personnel. So there's a back here, Saquon Barkley, and we have two tight ends down here. Okay. Now we got A.J. Brown right here in what looks to be like a wing position, almost like an H-back. And then we have a receiver right here. Okay. So this is 12 personnel. And then the formation, I would call this wing to the left. Okay. Wing two. And then up here, I would call this probably off two cut. All right, so or two cut off, something like that. All right, so over here again we have wing two. Up here we have off cut two. All right, and then the backfield is going to be gun. Well, this is pistol, right? So the back is lined up directly behind the quarterback, so we have pistol. All right, now the question was, I'm going to go ahead and let the beginning of this play run, and we'll look at it from the other angle better, and you can see where the glitch is. So when the ball is snapped, right, you can see A.J. Brown now is starting to come across the formation. Right, he's going to cross the ball. Now, normally that would mean a very specific rule is triggered for the linebackers. But we're going to take a look at this from the other angle and talk about why it's not that clear on this play. All right. One thing that's not fully clear is what coverage the Chiefs are in here. Obviously, we see Justin Reed is down in the box here, so it looks to be an 8-man box or an 8-man spacing, as some of you call it. All right, you got a post safety here, but as we run the play, you'll see the post safety usually indicates that it's an 8-man box. That means it's either cover one or cover three. All right, but in this case, you're going to see pre-snap Reed backs out of there. You can see him backing out now. All right, and when he does that, now I'm going to go back to the other view if I can and try to see what the other safety is doing. It looks to me like they might be shifting into cover two. All right, here goes. Watch. Here comes Reed back. And then you can see 21 slides over. Like there's a glitch, so it's hard to tell. But it looks like it's going to be cover two. All right. And that kind of like that jibes with what's going on with the corners. All right. The corners are pressed up. It looks like they're playing some sort of cloud run support here. So let's call it cover two. All right. All right. So let's go back to the other angle now. All right. So if this is cover two, that means it's a 7-man box or 7-man spacing. The difference is, because the tight splits on both sides, the corners are really in run support here. They can absolutely run support, right? Especially this one here. Now, what throws that off is when A.J. Brown goes in motion. Now, let's talk about the rules. The rule is this for linebackers. All right, we're going to read ball, or we're going to read back to flow side of the line, right? And if we have a contradiction, then we're going to honor the contradiction. Now, here's the caveat to that. A lot of teams, and when I played for the Titans, this was the case, we'll say we're going to ignore a receiver. Okay. If a receiver goes in motion, we're going to handle that out of the back end, meaning we're going to let the safeties take the responsibility of accounting for that motion. The funny thing here is that A.J. Brown is like a hybrid, right? He's a receiver clearly, but he does pose a very real blocking threat because he's big, 225 pounds, strong. Okay. So we can't really discount that. Now, the Chiefs probably have a very specific rule, okay? And they should probably have elucidated that to their linebackers at some point. I'm sure that they have. So what we're looking at here is who's right. Two of them do it one way, okay? Bolton and Tranquill both go to the right. Leo does it differently, all right? And you can actually see that based on what they're looking at, they're getting different reads. So Leo seems to be, I should say, looking across. Like this is called cross key, right? He's looking all the way across at A.J. Brown, who is staring at where he's going, right? So Leo is probably looking at that thinking he's coming back, right? And if he comes back, my rule is on a split zone that I'm going to honor the contradiction. This is a contradiction because the flow side, as we started here, you can see Saquon is going to our right, okay, to the defense's right. So you can see Bolton and Tranquill stepping to the right. Now, if they were honoring this contradiction, in other words, if they were not told to ignore a receiver in this position, which a lot of guys are, then they should rock back to another gap, right? That should bring Bolton over here to this B gap, or excuse me, was that C gap? This C gap, Okay, that would bring Tranquill to this A gap, and then we would have a safety come down and fill this C gap here, right there. But it's not clear what the rule is here. I would guess, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I would just guess that based on the fact that Tranquill and Bolton are the two like traditional off the ball backers, and they're almost always right. I mean, these guys are very disciplined. My guess is that they were told to ignore a receiver in that position. Maybe Leo didn't realize that this was a receiver because he is a big guy, and maybe he just wasn't paying attention to that. But he certainly is influenced by this contradiction. Okay, so let's say that we all decided we were going to honor this as a contradiction, right, and not ignore the fact that he was a receiver. If that was the case, then Leo would end up, so McDuffie would end up off the edge here, spilling A.J. Brown, right? Leo would actually end up off the edge of that to make the tackle. That would put Bolton all the way over here, and that would put Tranquill all the way over where? Here, okay? Which means that we'd still need a safety to come down and fill this C gap here. Okay, that would be Reed there. And it's just not clear to me if that's what's happening. Now, I do know that if we watch this play through a little bit more, you can see Bolton and Tranquill go to the right. They commit to the right. And there doesn't seem to be any hesitation. Tranquill's gone like shot out of a cannon, gone. He's in there, all right? Bolton has a little more hesitation. I'm not sure exactly if he's sure either. He's got that A gap right in front of him if he's not honoring that contradiction, all right? But he kind of looks to be playing both sides of it. Part of that also is 91 gets reached, and so he's in his gap. And now he's just trying to find Saquon, I think. So he ends up falling back. All right. So then Leo, though, on the other hand, is going – he's paying complete attention to that motion, at least initially, right? And then when he sees that it's wide and he's not really a blocking threat, then he goes ahead and fits the edge of this tight end here. So I'm interested to know what you guys think. Is this Leo's fault? Is this Bolton's fault? Is this Tranquill's fault? Is it everybody's fault? Is it the defensive coordinator's fault for not communicating this well enough? It's not clear to me who's at fault here, but they do get gashed. We'll watch the play all the way through. And of course, with a back like that, he's going to find the empty spot. Yeah, I just don't know. It all depends on what their rules were. So please leave your comments down below. I'd like to know what you guys think. Who's at fault here, if anybody's at fault, and we'll talk to you next time.